and with a great semifinal matchup of two local Lower Mainland teams, being able to get a lot of your fan base here for these games is always a lot of fun. I don't think the game is being sponsored by Home Depot, but you'd be surprised with the number of orange buckets that we're seeing being banged at this point.
Yeah, they might have bought out the supply at the local Home Depot, and they are perfect for in-gymnasium use. Here's Tate. Spin move in the key, gets her the contact and the trip to the free throw line.
Yeah, it's really tricky trying to stop that move of hers because she uses her length really well to shield the ball until her last little spin move. So as the help side defender, they really have to try to prevent her from turning instead of trying to reach for the ball by the time she gets there. So we'll see if Yale figures that out in terms of how to defend her a little bit better.
Well, she makes the first and she ties this game, and there's a great atmosphere in the building tonight with a berth to the BC Championships on the line to face the defending champions, the Riverside Rapids. Tate makes them both, and Siakam now with a 1-point lead. Here's Maeve Carnahan. Yale unable to find any success there. Tate again, this time she'll dish. And she'll go to Syra Tour. Back to Priya, into Roufosse, the post.
It's great to see them get early touch. Sydney, steps onto the floor, and within the first possession, they're getting an inside possession touch by her. And again, she doesn't get that scoring look, but that's one more foul. One more foul closer to shooting free throws, and we haven't seen a ton of that on a lot of the teams, the ability to establish an inside presence.
We'll see how that works out as Kumar gets called for the foul, her first of the game. Here's Roufosse. Ross. Roufosse with the offensive rebound, the second one. And establishes position, the end one, and she is loving life in the paint.
Yeah, Sydney is the epitome of an energy giver. She comes onto the floor and instantly there's been an impact. She's able to get an inside touch, she gets fouled, now she gets an offensive putback, she gets another offensive putback, she's going to the free throw line, she makes that free throw. Yale's gonna have a game plan for how they're gonna manage her minutes.
Roufosse doing a good job there and matched up against number 15, Sloan Mason. 5'9", 10 post player, but stolen away. Priya Tour. She's going to get it to go, and right now Siakam firing on all cylinders, turning defense into offense. Here's Ella Bond. Kendall Dewitt. Mackenzie Henderson will now check in for Syra Tour, and she's a three-point shooter. At our TBI tournament in December, just lit it up. Vaughn. Back to Dewitt. Yale's, everything's under duress for them right now. That shot right there by Maeve Carnahan.
Well, again, Siakam's doing a great job of staying home. They're not flying out at some of the typical fakes or scoring looks that Yale maybe has used to, or even some of the looks that they got yesterday. So sometimes when you get into the second game, you have to make adjustments faster. It's not about what happened yesterday and what you got yesterday. It's about what you're getting today. And so, again, it's a great take, straight down the middle. They didn't have to do too much work to get that one, and so maybe it's the simpler solution for Yale today.
So we saw Carnahan score. Right before that, we saw Henderson give it up underneath to Roufosse for a nice basket. 15-9 Seahawks. Priya Tour takes the three. And a battle underneath. Dewitt battling with Roufosse. Oh my goodness. A jump ball called, and the possession arrow will favor the Yale Lions.
this type of noise is how does that impact the athletes in terms of their communication to the bench, their communication to each other, shot clock management. There's so many factors that come to play. We kind of talked about those controllables, and this was maybe one of those factors that they didn't experience earlier in the year in this tournament, where now all of a sudden now you're talking about all those added elements to this game.
Yeah, it is loud in this gym tonight. The South Court reverberating. Multiple drum kits being pounded on by the fans here as Ella Bond heads to the free throw line. The Yale boys last week winning the Fraser Valley East Quad A, so they are qualified for the big dance next week. The Yale girls right now looking to go to the championship game. A great year for Lions basketball.
Well, they put a lot of time into their program development, and it's great to see when a school is being able to do that on the girls and the boys side. Oftentimes we see kind of a deficit between certain schools where they have a great girls program but not really on the guys side, or they have a great guys program but not on the girls side. So that's why you tend to get a ton of support from both teams.
Great point.
They're in the gym in the mornings, they're getting shots up together. That's kind of when they're playing one-on-one at lunch break and all those different kind of things. And it's great to see students supporting each other, probably because they put a lot of work in the mornings, so they really are kind of experiencing some of these things together as an entire kind of senior or junior team.
It makes me want to be in grade 12 again. Here's Kate, like a receiver trying to turn her head and find where the ball is coming from, unable to pull that one in.
But I think, a great early push to Cameron, establishing the fact that she can get up the floor a little bit quickly. They didn't actually lose possession of the basketball in that sense. So, I think those are some of the looks that you want to try to get as early as possible to see, can they stop her in the full court? We know that she's gone to the free throw line on some of her individual scoring looks, and now, they're turning the heat up on their defensive pressure.
Kelly Brost, exactly what coach is telling you. Goes right to the basket to lay it up and in. Bobby Bracher's got a call for time, and the Yale Lions can't make up any ground here on Seattle. The Seahawks are really a complete team, and they're a unique group too. I mean, when you look at their depth, not that they're the Riverside Rapids and not that Riverside Seaquam, but there's unique players that they're bringing into the game that do certain things really well too. Like Mackenzie Henderson is a great three-point shooter. You're talking about Roufosse not starting. Neelam Sidhu, who started and scored the first basket, has barely played in this game. So there's a lot of depth here.
Well, and again, it's the coaches looking at the type of situation that they're in and saying, what do we need right now? What tool is going to fix either the concern or the issue? And so, they established inside. Now they know that that's going to work. They come in, we haven't really seen a ton of outside shots yet, but we know based on what we've seen is that they push, they look inside first, they start establishing defense, having to chase them into the key, and now the awesome shots. So I'm sure we're going to see a few more shots fly, I'm sure, as the game continues, but it's about establishing those consistent looks that they're going to need throughout this game. Seahawks
will come out with Roufosse, Priya Tour, Mackenzie Henderson, Callie Brost, and Cameron Tate.
I'm sure in that timeout, coach is just telling, as Yale athletes, just relax, guys. Like we can get some good scoring looks, but we can't turn over the ball the way that we have been. And again, we looked at that last game with 17 turnovers in the first half. That ended up playing a huge factor in their ability to not get back into this game. So we'll see if Yale can just make sure that first entry pass, that first attack is a little bit cleaner, and then they're going to get some great scoring looks after that.
Ella Bond in heavy traffic following the Callie Brost little shot off her hip. She scores a nice easy basket, lost them down the floor. Tour to Henderson. Roufosse one-on-one with a mismatch underneath. Ava Hepner forced to come in. You don't want Ava Hepner picking up fouls, but came in there to help her teammate number 10, Asia Kumar.
Yeah, that's definitely the type of matchup that Sydney wants to exploit, and you hear coach saying get the ball inside, and it's great, the team responds to the mismatch, and again, doesn't make the basket, but it's at the free throw line, and like you said, now potentially there's someone on the other team who has to play a critical role that may not be on the floor as much as she'd like to be.
Well, Neelam Sidhu, number 15, we just mentioned her name, is going to check in. She started, scored instantly, and Roufosse comes out. So a different look now for the Siakam Seahawks. Hefner, Jewick, Hannah Singh now with the basketball, as well as Kumar on the floor right now for the Lions. Hefner as well. Turnaround shot rolls off the rim, and a jump ball called, and it will go in favor of the Seahawks this time.
We talked about high-scoring first quarter in that last game where it was, 29 points for Riverside in the first 10 minutes, and Siakam is showing that they might have some firepower of their own.
Shot on the baseline there. I think that was Brost again. She's finding ways to quietly put some points on the board.
Her length is quite deceptive, but she finds her way around and through defenders to be able to get that soft touch at the rim. So this is a great sign. They're showing multiple different looks, multiple different players scoring, and so it's not necessarily, and that's what Siakam does so well. It's not on any one player's role. Their whole team has to contribute to a successful. But again, that can also be the challenge when things are not going well. Who's the person who's supposed to step up? So we'll see kind of how they handle some of this. Obviously,
that really describes the Riverside Siakam game, the final at TBI, where Cameron Tate turned it on late when they kind of needed her, and she was named the MVP. So.
And now there's expectation, in terms of, maybe that you were with the younger athlete before playing against the older athletes. And now, at this point in the season, everyone is here at the provincial championship. We're not spending as much time talking about youthfulness anymore because they've had a whole year of senior basketball if this is new for them. And now it's just about the best team at this point in the season.
The Lions find some success at the free throw line, 22-11, doubled on the scoreboard right now by the Seahawks with 92 seconds left in the quarter.
We talked about whether fouls is going to be a factor in today's game. Both teams are going to be in bonus for this last stretch, and we'll see if it actually plays a factor, or they're just going to try to get some good scoring lists without drawing too much contact.
Here's Brosh. She loves the runner. She just pulls that little floater out of her pocket. 24-11.
The defender is waiting for the big contact at the end, and she just finds that sweet little spot right in front of the charge. It's a great finish, but it's also quite difficult to defend because the defender's going to have to decide whether they step into it or not.
We talked about Sydney Roufosse as an energy player. You can hear her as an energy player as well, even above this incredible loud gym we're in.
Let's go!
You got that one.
Oftentimes we look at some of these games where there's very few seniors, and the pressure that they're not feeling is this is our last shot at it. So sometimes you have that, for better or for worse, they have no idea what they're doing. So there's not this expectation of this is their last shot at it. So sometimes that sense of freedom allows them to take some risks that maybe some of the older teams aren't willing to take.
Duick with a shot. She banks home the three. Down to 36 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Yale just needs to get a solid stop here. They'll still get a possession of the ball depending on what happens on the offensive rebound if there's a miss.
Neelam Sidhu with an offensive rebound. Tate as well underneath. Oh, that's, excuse me, number 12 is Iria Extaraga. I know I pronounced that incorrectly, but I apologize. Down to 4 seconds, Sidhu with the basketball. Puts it up, and they get called for the travel with 0.6 seconds remaining.
Yale's really going to have to talk about their ability to either defensive rebound, box out, or just chase after loose basketballs on that last play. They gave up 2-3 kind of opportunities for Siakam to get that final no score, and now you've been doubled up. So again, little things like pursuing the basketball. I thought they did a great job of attacking those things yesterday. It's just going back to let's remember how we got here.
Very quickly from Hepner to Duick, and that's going to do it for the first quarter. Aquam and Yale battling for that last spot to the Provincials. Sydney Roufosse comes charging off the bench. She'll come into the game here for Seacom. Cameron Tate will take a breather.
Both teams are a little bit off right now. They're trying to settle into the second quarter, so I mean a minute and a half to change. The score hasn't changed, so we'll see who kind of gets the first points of this quarter.
Syra Tour, Neelam Sidhu. Syra jumps on a loose ball. Look for Neelam, but right into the hands of Duick.
Yale dropped into a zone there, maybe just to throw off some of the scoring looks that Seacom was getting early in that first quarter. And again, they've done a great job. Seacom hasn't scored in almost 2 minutes, but they're going to have to generate something from those defensive stops.
Yeah, it came to fruition, as you said, those important couple of minutes there. Jumping in the passing lane there and knocking the ball out of bounds. Hannah Singh of the Lions. Heading into this quarter, Callie Brost leading the Seacom team with a game-high 11 points. And Callie Brost, 4 of 6 from the field. 8 points for Sydney Roufosse. Yale led by the 6 of Kendall Duick.
So now again, Yale's had 2 or 3 defensive series where they've done a pretty good job of slowing the roll of Seacom, but what can they generate on offense?
Henderson checking out and Bross back in.
I was going to say Seacom has gone to a lineup that potentially can generate a little bit more offense, maybe from a defensive perspective, going with a little bit of length with, both Neelam and Sydney on the floor at the same time, which we didn't see in the first quarter. So we'll see if this lineup can generate some things offensively from a defensive stop perspective into the inside looks that they're going for, especially for Sydney.
Ross comes right back down the floor. Roufosse banging underneath.
Talked about that floater from Callie before, and they found a defensive stop, but similar to the game that we just witnessed, that second chance opportunity is so critical.
Yeah.
that was a half stop that didn't pay off. So.
Oh my goodness. And they can bring her off the bench. Roufosse right now playing in tandem with Neelam on the floor. They had just subbed out for each other a few minutes ago. They're out there with the Tour sisters and Callie Bross. Air ball there. Quickly down the floor. Too much mustard there for the Yale Lions and Ella Bond.
Yeah, but against this lineup, again, Yale now understands that they're going to have to push the tempo against this longer. If this just settles into a half-court matchup, that's not one that's going to go their way. So yes, that was a turnover, but I love the fact that they recognize we have to beat this lineup up the floor.
And we'll keep our eyes on that as well if they can get a stop here. 6:44 to the half here. Roufosse. Syra high arcing three is going to fall. And I am emphasizing Syra because Coach Lucky came up and said,
it's not
I'm
Syra.
always pronouncing the name wrong. He's getting the complaint from his daughter. But you know what? You got to get names right. No shame.
Yeah.
Tell the announcer,
Yep.
I want to do it right.
Well, and again, you're playing against a longer lineup, so you're really focused on the inside, collapsing up on the bigs, just to give up a big 3 by Syra. So Siakam's like, you know what? We have a problem. Solve her. And back-to-back 3s. So are you sure that's how you want to defend us at this point? So, what a great response to, again, we talked about that chess match of one team goes a little bit bigger, the other team decides to go a little bit longer. They decide to go into a zone to kind of combat some of the things that have been happening earlier. And then you have Syra that comes in and hits back-to-back 3s. So what's your next solve for the problem that you're facing right now?
That is the highest arcing 3 I've seen since the early turn of the century. Jane Meadwell from Chilliwack used to shoot one like that. That is That is a ton of art. Here's Neelam on the baseline. Met on the way to the basket by Yale's Sloan Mason.
Sometimes you wonder how much the previous game has taken out a team's ability to fight the next night. And, you know, Yale looks fatigued right now. You know, they had a physical battle in yesterday's game, and, you know, it's exciting to be in a semifinal today. But right now they haven't necessarily had that push that I've seen them have in the past. So we'll see if, you know, just again, trying to find 2 or 3 good scoring looks to finish this, you know, the second half of the second quarter. But they're going to have to find a way to do the job on defense first.
Sidhu at the free throw line hits the first. Siakam at their every point now their largest lead of the game. They are leading by a bundle here, 21 points. Tate with a miss underneath. Roufosse. Oh, and Mason's going to get called for the foul underneath. And Sydney, look at the enthusiasm as she steps up to the line.
There's this challenge for Yale to finish the sequence that they're in. They know that they're in a hole, you know, offensively, and so you can see the players trying to leak out to get out there early. But when you have both, you know, Sydney Roufosse and Cameron Tate rebounding, you're going to have to stay committed to getting that defensive rebound before you take off.
Roufosse makes the second. This one not going the way Coach Braich and company had hoped, and I think a great point by Coach that Argyle game, a lot of emotion facing that number 2 ranked team in the Argyle Pipers. We'll see if Yale can rediscover the mojo here. A turnover, Neelam Sidhu displaced to the ball by Hepner. Quickly they go, and Bond, a great look at the 3. She's going to follow or miss. Ella inside, taken away by Sidhu. On the baseline. Mackenzie Henderson now checking in for Siakam. Neelam Sidhu will take a break. And this Yale Lions team under Coach Braich will take a timeout. And we'll take a short one here, rest the vocal pipes, and be back for the final 5 minutes of the second half. Howard Smurf, Cheryl Jean-Paul, back with you at the Langley Event Center. 4:48 remaining in the second quarter here, the second Quad A semifinal of the day. Siakam with the lead and the basketball. Cameron Tate. And off to Callie Bross, who's had a great offensive half. Roufosse facing the basket from 15 feet, knocks it down. Look at the expression. Oh, unlucky there for Ella Bond. Here's Tate weaving. Bond gets a hand up, tries to get a block, and is going to get called for the foul. Everything's going Siakam's way.
You know, Sydney, there's so many different things that she brings. We talk about the energy, but if she's starting to knock down that high post jumper, Yale's going to have to figure out some other things. And again, like just their ability to defend certain aspects of what Siakam can do. So, you know, they're trying to fix the previous problem, and then Siakam is just giving them a new one. So we'll see. You're going to have to be a step ahead instead of 2 steps behind, especially with the deficit that they're facing right now.
That's a great way to put it. I'm not writing the story from this game, but if I was, I'd use that. That's beautiful. On the deck, the Lions recover though with Hepner. Quickly to the corner. Boy, turnover after turnover, and the key to break here, they go to Henderson. She's going to lay it up and in. Siakam is flexing its collective muscle here. They are getting stops, generating turnovers. And they're red hot on the offensive end, and they hit another one, and that's going to be Henderson.
Wow. I mean, this is an offensive onslaught here from Siakam, and again, like, just all the little things are going their way right now. Like, they're feeling some great shots, but it's fueled by the fact that Yale's going straight into their length defensively, not getting the fouls that they're hoping to, and then really not doing a great job of stopping them on the way back.
Cameron Tate, everything coming in transition right now.
You know, coach is out of timeouts now, and so who's going to be the leader on the floor for this Yale team? Someone's going to have to step up. Hopefully, we talked about that in the previous game. At some point, you start looking up at the score and say, okay, what's the game plan? What are we working towards here?
Wow, they are just in absolute command of this game. Yale is turning the ball over seemingly every time down the floor. It's Priya Tour now. Wearing number 8 for these Seahawks. Tate drives, dishes to Roufosse. Henderson dribbles to an open spot, had a good look at it. Carnahan in transition, finding teammate Singh, but they can't get anything going right now.
Yeah, we're starting to see signs of those frustration fouls. You know, they're going hard to their end, trying to get a scoring look, don't get the call that they want, and then within 2 seconds, picking up that foul. So, you know, there's some frustrations there. You know, obviously, you know, it's not going their way when it comes to some of the finishes, but then don't double up on
compound it, yeah.
Yeah, compound the issue.
Tour to Neelam Sidhu. Jump ball called here. It's going to be Yale basketball. Seahawks will call for time. Final half of our day, 48-16. Yale with the basketball in a big mountain decline here. Howard Samura along with Cheryl Jean-Paul. Thanks for joining us on the network here tonight. Wherever you may be watching on the World Wide Web, Siakam with a 48-16 lead.
Well, again, we talked about, you know, maybe at this point the victory is not actually win the game, but maybe it's about reestablishing who we are, and I think Yale really lost their identity in that first half, and you know, Siakam got some great scoring looks from multiple different sources, so now it's about, you know, getting and settling back into this game for them. Get a few good scoring looks, get a great few stops, get your transition looks that you're trying to create, but find a way to get back into this game.
And it was a damaging second quarter for Yale, who only scored 2 points in the entire quarter. Yale right now shooting 5 of 33. Is that correct? 5 of 33 overall from the field. I guess that would be there. 4 of 6 from the free throw line. And they've gotten, I think, 1 or 2 threes in there. So that is a tough pill to swallow. Here comes Kendall Duick. She kicks it back up top. 3 ball would be huge if it went, and it doesn't. And that was Asia Kumar. Frost drives and dishes. Tate drive and kick back out. The Priya Tour. Tate scrambles again, this time to Syra on the other side, or Syra, excuse me. And Tate picks up the garbage. 50-16.
You know, Yale takes that outside shot, and again, it doesn't go in, but, you know, much better scoring look than some of the looks that they were trying to get in the first half. So the problem, again, is you give 3 separate opportunities for Siakam to miss a shot. They're going to make one of those at some point in time. So, you know, for Yale, some of their challenges are also going to be reestablishing who they need to be on defense to be able to at least manage 2 or 3 of the things that Siakam's doing well.
Siakam starting with the Tour sisters, Tate, Callie Brost, and in the middle, Sydney Roufosse. Bond, Duick, as well as Hannah Singh, number 9. Number 5 out there is Maeve Carnahan, or Maeva Carnahan, excuse me. Roufosse knocking down the face-up jumpers, double-figure score in the first half. Ross drives, gets it back. Syra, high arcing 3 again. Roufosse spinning off the rebound, can't get it to go. Keeps the motor going.
Well, again, third time's the charm for Siakam right now, and again, they're getting multiple opportunities to get some of those scoring looks, and you know, Yale's going to have to battle a little bit harder to give up that offensive rebound, especially.
Carnahan's shot off the mark there.
One.
Tour again.
Two.
And look at Roufosse continuing to run hard and chase that down. Both she and number 14, Chanel Braun, chasing that basketball. Braun heads off, now back into the game. Sloan Mason, number 15.
You know, it's interesting that Siakam played with a lot of tempo in that first half, and you can see they're slowing down just a little bit, but that's also kind of
preservation.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and you know what, at some point, if you're playing a Riverside, chances are you're not getting run and gun scoring looks, so you're gonna have to, again, handle the full court pressure that Riverside shows and then execute well in offense. You can see coach is not in this game anymore.
And we're back here with 1:29 left in the third quarter. Ella Bond with a touch there. Body's crashing to the floor. Roufosse takes a hard fall, as does Kumar underneath. Interesting that when Yale, I just remembered, Yale actually won the top 10 at GW Graham. Riverside wasn't there this year, but that would have been probably their kind of peak in their season. And that was in early January or mid-January. So,
well, you know, there's the ebbs and flows of that second half of the high school season after Christmas break,
yeah,
depending on how many games you got over the Christmas holidays versus was that your first tournament back in. You know, and let's remember that was some insane weather that weekend as well.
Goodness.
So, you know, did it take teams 2 hours to get to Chilliwack to play a basketball game? I'm not sure, but I think sometimes for high schools, we want to look at the historical context, and sometimes it's just about what's happening today.
They had a bad day at school. Asia Kumar, we should say, of note at the other end, did score a bucket there. They'll put up another shot here over the goal by Ella Bond. As we get down to about 39 seconds, Siakam students having fun here at the LEC. Here's Priya Tour. Henderson for three. My goodness, if they shoot like this tomorrow.
Well, sometimes you want to hope that they save a few shots for tomorrow's game. Maybe now it's like, whoa, just wait. Let's make sure we still have some of this firepower left for tomorrow's game. But you know what? Right now it's just about building up that confidence. We've earned the right. Look at what we did in the semifinals. We're ready for anything in the finals, and you know.
We're going to have a great game, Coach, and thank you so much for being with us. I can't wait to call the game tomorrow.
You're welcome, and I think it just goes to show you these are great programs when these athletes are coming in and doing some great things from the grade 8 level all the way through. So this is great. This is great basketball, and looking forward to some great matchups tomorrow.
We look forward to seeing